Many salespeople consider their customers stupid or crazy because they meet many people who waste their time throughout the day. And some customers come to the showroom or shop just because they have something to do. There is no work to do, and they leave without taking anything. In such a situation, you should never forget that you can sell goods only to one needy person and not everyone. Always remember one thing: no matter who you work for or what you sell, this is your business. The better you make it and give it time, the more customers you will get. The author says that more things are bought through feelings than logic. Pretend that every single person you meet has a sign around his or her neck that says, "Make me feel important." If you do this, not only will you succeed in sales, you will succeed in life. Mary Kay Ash. Hello friends, today we will talk about the book, How to Sell Anything to Anybody, written by famous marketing and sales expert Joe Girard. Where he believed in building solid relationships with customers and continuously making efforts for their satisfaction, and by doing so, you will learn from this how to increase your sales. Once a customer came to the author to buy a car, and he was the organizer of a funeral company. So the author asked him how many people come to the funeral of any person. So he replied, on average, 250 people come. Once the author went to his relative's wedding with his wife. At the reception, he met a person who was the catering manager, and the author asked him how many people came to the wedding. So he said that 500 people come to a commoner's wedding. This means that at every wedding, about 250 people come from the boys' side, and the same number of people come from the girls' side. Now, you must have understood what the author wants to say. An ordinary person knows about 250 people in his life. That is, he influences many people. He gives so much importance to these people that he invites them to weddings and funerals. And if there is any famous personality, this number can be many times more than this. Now, as a salesperson, you need to know this rule. Whenever a customer comes to you and spoils your mood, you misbehave with him, and he becomes sad. If a customer becomes sad or angry, what difference does it make? So remember this. That person will meet those 250 people at some point in his life, and whenever he meets, he will also talk about you. Due to this, these 250 people associated with that person who could have become your customer will never become your customer now. If you satisfy a customer by giving him a good product or service, he will talk about you to these 250 people, and it is possible that they will become your customers someday. Therefore, every customer should be treated like a valuable customer. We're going to understand all these sales secrets in multiple parts.
So watch the video very carefully till the end. If you work in sales, or have you ever been in a sales profile or want to stay? So this video is going to be very helpful for you, because this book summary contains all the secrets that any person can possibly face in sales. So let's start. Convert unknown people into your customers in this way. Whenever a salesman joins the sales force, he starts selling goods, be it selling cars, insurance, or any other product service. Initially, selling 2 pieces was a minor deal for him. In the beginning, he sells 2 things quickly. First, he buys the product and sells 2 to 3 products to his relatives or friends. A true salesman is recognized when he sells more than 3 products. After selling 3 products, the right salesman can be identified based on whether he can sell the product. When the people who buy things from you to help you, their list ends. What do you do after that? Then you have to go to unknown people. At this time, how do you make an unknown person your customer? This is a fundamental question, and we will move towards the answer. Friends, if you feel you have run out of people you know, the first thing to do is make a list of those prospects to whom you can sell the product. This could include people you keep meeting, like those people to whom you pay bills, like the grocery seller, the person from whom you fill petrol, or the person from whom you buy clothes. That means you should make a list of people who sell you something or another. So contact them and offer to sell your goods. After this, the next question is how to sell on the phone. When a salesperson joins a company, he is often handed a list of prospects, almost none of whom he knows. Because of this, in reality, 99% of the people from that list are not interested in talking to you. In such a situation, the first thing that happens is that the person who will sell you does not want to speak to you at all. He is not in the mood to talk to you, and suddenly he hangs up the phone. First, some unknown person speaks to you on the phone. To buy your product, one thing is required: a reference. No person takes an interest in talking without reference. The author explains his method of selling his product well over the phone, even to strangers. When the author gets a list, he calls that person's house, and his wife picks up the phone and says, "I am Joe, a car salesman, talking to this company. The car you ordered is ready. When are you coming to collect it?" So the woman was surprised to hear this and said we had not ordered a car. On this, Joe takes the name of any person and asks if this is his house. So the woman says, "No, my husband's name is something else. Like, respect people. She told me my husband's name is Steven." He says, "Sorry, we called you by mistake." But before he hung up the phone, the author asked, "Are you considering buying a new car? Do you want to buy a car?" The woman said, "No, we do not need a new car.
But my husband is looking into it. You can talk to him if there is any plan to buy and he will let you know." Joe started getting what he needed, that is, reference. The author asks the woman for her husband's name and details and asks when she should call him, and then call her husband and say, "I have talked to your wife. I am talking to a car salesperson. Are you thinking of buying a new car?" Now, because his wife's name was mentioned in the reference at the beginning of the conversation with that person he would talk to the author, he said, "I have no plans to buy a car right now." So the author asks him when he is planning. He says that after 6 months, the author would write all these details and whatever information he got about him in detail in a file. And later, after 6 months, he would call him again and make an interested customer. In this way, you can also make an unknown person your customer by talking on the phone. But Joe says, you should not trap the customer, do not cheat in any way, just in this way your product, and you should reach the people in the right way, so that more people can also get you. In today's technology era, the following way to convert unknown people into customers is to send letters or emails. Many salespeople send letters or emails to customers, but there is complete advertising. There are processes and templates regarding their work. When someone receives such letters, he usually does not read them but throws them in the dustbin or deleted it. Therefore, the first thing you should do is send mail to the customer as soon as possible. The author explains the method he used to ensure that they read it when sending it. He says not to force the prospect to buy anything through your mail. Instead, talk about any of their problems and their solutions in each of your different emails, and send celebration messages from time to time on festivals and memorable days of their life like birthdays. The authors mail every customer in this way 12 times a year. They mail on any special day of every month. No advertising is done in it. Just the things to wish for that day are written in it. With this technique, once a month means 12 times a year. Joe's mail would be sent to that customer's home, and every time in a month, Joe would be mentioned there. In this way, those people completely know who Joe Girard is and what work he does. The following method is a visiting card. Joe says that you must keep your visiting card with you to reach new people and make them your customers, and hand over your card to whoever comes to meet you. Find ways to get your visiting card in front of as many people as possible so people understand who you are and what you sell. The author narrates his experience that whenever he went to watch a football match, whenever a goal was scored, people would jump up and clap with joy. At that very moment, he throws a handful of his visiting cards into the crowd, and thus on that happy occasion, his cards also become visible in the crowd, and he successfully reaches more and more people. Make the customer a winner. Remember that you can sell something only to a needy person, not everyone. Many salespeople consider their customers stupid or crazy because they meet many people who waste their time throughout the day. And some customers come to the showroom or shop just because they have something to do. There is no work to do, and they leave without taking anything. That is why many salespeople consider their customers crazy or stupid. But thinking about your customers like this is a terrible way, because customers are also like us. The author says that most people who buy cars are from middle-class families who have earned money by working hard. Remember that when a customer comes to your showroom to buy a TV set or a car, refrigerator, he is a little nervous. People see the salesman as a person who keeps trying to extort more money from his customers, which is why, as soon as he comes, he says that he has come to see him. They are filled with fear and mistrust, that if I say yes,
This salesman will do anything, just sell me his goods and not even give me a chance to see and understand. You might have often met customers who would have paid you to see but never returned. This usually happens when the salesman tries to make the customer crazy or stupid, so the customer feels that this salesperson is just trying to sell or does not understand the problem and need by paying some money. It is better to get rid of it. Thus, the salesman loses his potential customers. In such a situation, you should never forget that you can sell goods only to one needy person and not everyone. The author says that what you do every day in your working life is a kind of war. Because our potential customers come to our shop or showroom considering us as their enemies, they think that the salesperson wants to extort money from them. On the other hand, salespeople believe that customers have come to waste their time. In this way, both consider each other to be their enemy. If this situation is left without correcting it, both will always feel each other's enemy, lie and try to manipulate each other. By selling goods in this way, you will lose this war. Instead of doing this, you, as a salesperson, should try to understand what is going on in your customer's mind. Why is he upset? By talking to him and finding out about his problem, you can win this war and create a good relationship between you and the customer. If you sell goods in the right way, then both benefit. Because the customer gets the product he came for, you get the commission you want. Therefore, it makes the customer feel that he has more value in return for the money and time he has spent, which has won this battle. Try that, no matter what the customer thinks while coming into your showroom or shop while going out.
The customer should see himself as a sensible customer and consider you my friend. Avoid becoming part of the gossip club. The more customers you talk to, the more your sales will increase. This is a straightforward and fundamental rule too. If you do not have a prospect list, you can talk to clients using old data from your company's customers, or speak to them using the telephone directory as the author did. When he first started selling cars, instead of waiting for customers to come, he found ways to invite customers so that customers would come looking for him by name. It started with the numbers recorded in the telephone directory. Since they did not have any prospect list or customer data available, they used the telephone directory as their prospect list and started from there. Do not become a part of any gossip club to attract more customers. A gossip club means those people in the company or team engaged in useless talk instead of focusing on completing their work. Don't be part of their club. There is a group of people in every company where all the salespeople waste their precious time talking together. But you don't have to do this, because you have to make more sales. Always remember one thing. No matter who you work for or what you sell, this is your business. The better you make it and give it time, the more customers you will get. But you have to pay the price in money for the time you spend gossiping. The truth is that you cannot make money by spending time with friends or having fun. That's why today, I decided to slowly get out of the gossip club and start calling and sending direct mail to find new customers. Any method is effective only if it is repeated repeatedly. By doing this, you may not get any results in the beginning, but by doing this, your chances of getting clients will increase more than before. Sell smells. I still remember those feelings when I drove a Mercedes car for the first time. The first time I drove a Mercedes car. It was not my car, but I had gone to the showroom with my friend to see his car. It was just that Mercedes car that I liked. There was no budget. But I knew I had to buy this car one day. So I test drove it and drove it for the first time. Since that day, I have not been able to forget those feelings while driving the car, and as soon as the budget was made a few months ago, the same feelings inspired me to buy a Mercedes car, and we bought the same car. You can use this trick very well while making sales. This may be different when you sell things other than cars differently. Just like you have life insurance on a man, there is nothing that you can give him, such as smell or drive a car.
But by telling him a condition under which his family will get support for an insurance claim after his death, you can give him a chance to experience its benefits. Well, tell me one thing, can a salesperson sell a coat to a person without first getting it checked? Therefore, whatever item you sell, make sure that you have put it in the car. That is, you have given the experience of using that product. The author says he always does this. This method creates a desire in the customer to keep this item with him. And even if you cannot sell, you will still have a chance to get the customer back after a few days, because when he again experiences that feeling of taste, he will come to buy, and your sale will be done. Joe Girard, when he worked as a car salesman. At that time, if a person were seated in a new car, he would not say anything to him, he would just let him drive it. You will hear from some sales specialists that this is the time to sell your product to the customer by telling him all the qualities. But Joe doesn't believe it. They have found that the less they talk, the more the customer smells and feels the car and starts talking to himself about it. The author or every salesperson wants the customer to smell, feel, and talk about his product. Because the salesman wants to know what the customer likes and the problems in his life. The author wants to help them build a bond and take the conversation forward by telling them where he works and lives with his family. When you are sitting in the seat during a test drive, the customer will often tell you everything you need to sell him. And this is very important, so let him drive freely. When you go to a showroom, there are all kinds of mobiles, TVs, and many other items available for testing which you can't test whenever you want. Go a couple of times to test it and finally buy it. Just buy the stuff. So, no matter what you sell, look for ways you can present your product. The important thing here is to ensure that your potential customers, that is, those who can become your customers, can participate in this presentation. If you can attract their senses, you also attract their feelings. The author says that more things are bought through feelings than logic. Once the potential customer drives, he will probably ask you where he should go. At this time, the author always says to go wherever you feel like. If the customer lives in the neighborhood, he would suggest that he drive by the house. When passing the house, he would show it to his wife and children. A neighbor might be outside on the veranda. As a salesman, the author also wants everyone to see the customer driving the new car, and he should feel as if he has bought that car and is showing it off. This will make it easier for him to decide to buy a car immediately. As human beings, whatever we show off, we want to have now. If the customer wants to take the car very far in the test drive, they do not refuse him by saying that they do not have that much time. Instead, they allow him to drive the car as much as he wants. If he thinks that he has gone too far, it will create a feeling of gratitude towards the author, and he will now want to agree with them. That is, he will not be able to refuse to buy the car quickly. And being a salesman, you also want your goods to be sold. Use honesty wisely. The author says that when I say that honesty is the best policy, he means precisely that. It is a good policy you should always keep in mind as a salesman. But remember that this is a policy, not a law or rule. This is something that you can then modify to suit your needs. Of course, it is usually good to tell the truth, especially if it explains something to the customer that the customer can check later. For example, if you are selling a car, the honest policy is that if the vehicle has 8 cylinders, then tell that many. And if there are 6, then tell 6. Because if you lied and he counted the wires coming out of the car's distributor cap, you would be caught immediately. And now he would tell your lie to more than 250 people near him. Apart from this, there are times when you have to tell only half the truth. In other words, this much is required. The author talks about himself and how he used to work as a car salesman. Let's say a possible prospect calls me and asks me if I have a similar model or car available. Do you know what the author told him? You thought right, yes, you will get it. I have more models related to this that you can get today. They may or may not be telling the truth because they need to look at the inventory file when they get a call like this. He wants that man to come inside the showroom. They may get a car because there are many cars in the showroom, or if they do not have that model, they can quickly arrange it from another nearby showroom because showroom owners have a system in place with other dealers in their area where they exchange cars with them so that they all work together in a pool. In this situation, you just need to tell the truth so that the customer comes. Thank you, friends. This is the summary of How to Sell Anything to Anybody book. Let us revise the important things about selling so that we remember to implement them in real life. Every customer influences at least 250 people, so treat every customer in such a way that he talks positively about you to those 250 people. To convert unknown people into customers, call unknown people, send mail, or give your business card to people offline so that they can learn about you and what work you do and can come to buy from you if needed. Focus on meeting your customer's needs, solving his problems, and selling the product, keeping this in mind. This makes the customer feel like a winner. Avoid becoming part of the gossip club and focus on reaching as many potential people as possible.